Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus. I'm here again. I'm so glad to be here again. I was thinking about you as usual, and I'm thinking about what you don't know and how it hurts you and the role that I am to play as far as re educating you or introducing to you facts of life that would aid in the joy that you seek out of life. You know, ladies and gentlemen, we are blessed in these days and at these times. We have gone to school and we have been educated about certain things, um, more specifically the founding of our nation, where we come from, how we began, and how we have come to this point. And I want you to understand something, ladies and gentlemen. It's one thing to read history. It's another thing to be told about history. It's another thing to observe history. You've heard the expression that there's nothing new under the sun. What's been is gonna be again. And there goes the vicious cycle. So what we have basically right now, ladies and gentlemen, as far as our history, the founding of America, you've had various versions that's been given. Most of them have been consistent in certain areas. But if you really want to know what it was like, look at it today. First of all, you had someone like Donald Trump. And you had some others like the United States Congress and the Supreme Court. These are institutions that exist today that represents institutions that existed at that time. It's just a repeat. And what it does is what it's doing. You see, right now, we have some laws that exist. And those laws have indicated that certain people are not above the law. And yet, the nation itself have those statements and they want to hold themselves to it. But there's always a time when you can put those laws and regulations aside. They say when that serves the interest of the nation. So it doesn't matter how good the nation can possibly be. They already got built in at a given point in time. And this will always be the challenge. At that given point in time, will you sell out everything that you've ever stood for? In other words, the lying, the cheating, the terror, the murder, the every evil thing you can think of, if it can be applied to you. At this given moment in time, while you have always stood against it, at this given moment in time, will you accept it for your survival? So, what am I saying to you, ladies and gentlemen? I am saying to you just this plainly. Every human being on the face of the earth lives within a system of government. And every system of government sprang out from the fact that they did not want to operate under the government of God. Basically what that means is that there are some people who want the power of God. And so they branch out various directions, covering various ideologies, with one thing in mind. They, the ones who started this, as being masters. And everybody else is to be used to carry forward what this new master, and this new master brings everything into its fold, every department, every district, every governor, every, you name it. All of the parts of the system of the world as we understand it to be today. They bring it all under their control. And they manipulate and they convince people whatever they want people to believe. And people believe it. Why would their government lie? And see, what you see here today is how the natives lost their land. You got someone who lies and people who back the lies. There are good people in the midst, but the good people don't have any power. That's because they make sure that everybody that they put in a seat of power, everybody that they put in a seat of power is corrupt. Now, if you hit it real good, that's even better. But they know you're corrupt. There is no way a good person is going to get in a seat. They cannot maintain themselves, not with true goodness. And so even in the church, true goodness has a limitation. True goodness talks about, in fact, the question should be asked, have you ever heard in your religious institutions what it's like to live in this world? What it's supposed to be like to live in this world according to God? I believe, I don't know for sure, but I believe that most of you have never ever heard anything beyond don't rock the boat, be good and kind, turn goodness for goodness, treat those who are in need kindly. Even in the midst of all the stuff that's going around you, you must obey those that got rule over you. And one day, if you just hold on, there's going to be a reward for you. I bet. I'm laughing, ladies and gentlemen, because that's kind of funny. I'm betting that that's mostly what everybody has heard. Something similar to that. Maybe not the same thing, but something similar to that. But your reward is going to be on the other side. Just in case he doesn't return while you are alive. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you something a little bit different. This world, listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. And when I say, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about the little one you. But the same message that I have for this little one you goes for, if there are 8 billion people on this planet, it goes to 8 billion people. Because it is the truth. It works for one, and it works for everybody. Most of the people on earth are being controlled. And when you want to include the spiritual powers, everybody on earth is being controlled by an ungodly power. Now, what am I saying? I'm saying that a moment ago, I said that there are those who want to be God. But even that desire is motivated by a spiritual power. Some people might want to call it evil. Some people might want to call it Satan. Some people might want to call it the devil. Some people might want to say it's just the evilness in people. But it's not God. And as you can see in every society, from history all the way to this very date right here, there are poor people. Poor people. That's, again, a point that is to be made about the systems of the world and how they are designed. Now, back to what God's plan is. Every last one of you are magnificent. Every American, every African, every Russian, every Asian, every individual on the face of the earth are uniquely, absolutely wonderful. You got a gift that's needed, and you brought it to give it, to use it as your career, as your participation in the society, for your reason for being here. It makes you a part of all of here. Nothing. You are divine. You are a person of the King of love. And it is known by the evidence you project in standing in representation for that, and nothing against that can stand, because you will not allow it. What does it mean? It means that all of the resources of the earth were given by the power we can't see, but the maker of the earth. For what? For the benefit of human beings and whomever can use it. Whoever can use it, that's what it's for. And the gifts that we have, that we bring to this planet to exercise, is all we need in this moment in time to do all of the wonderful things that we can do. And why do we do those wonderful things? They are gifts from one another to one another. And as we live in this planet, on this earth at this time, utilizing our gifts and our imagination to take us from one skip to another skip, but all following the same path of treating others as we want to be treated. It does not allow lies. It does not allow cheating. See, as I mentioned, the system that you live under today, they try to pretend like it's a good system. But they have allowed the evil, the bottom line evil in which the world founded on, is standing right up front in America today. From the President of the United States to the voice of the Senate that says we're not going to think about what everybody is talking about. We're going to line right up with you. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what took the natives' land. That is what took black people into slavery. That is what shut the women's mouths. That is what made America great when they started having economic warfare, when they started ripping other nations off to get benefits for themselves and for that elite group that they use to substantiate themselves. And other people suffer. Other people suffer. But you do this as you move to try to be great, to try to be God. And you cause a lot of pain and suffering. And it's not supposed to exist. And where God is, as long as there's one person that represents God, that junk ain't going nowhere. It can only live when there's no voice speaking and acting for God. You are being called today, ladies and gentlemen, to face what you have been taught. Face it with what you see and make a decision based upon what you actually know today. Make a decision. Do you want to continue down this path? Or do you want to live? Large. Do you want your children to live large? Do you want the thing about war to be heard no more? Do you want to end the prejudice and racism and bigotry? Do you really want it to end? Do you want bondage to end and freedom for all, including yourself? Do you really want it? Then you got to choose a power you cannot see, touch, or feel. But it is evidenced by living in you. And it is your duty and your responsibility to guarantee these things to one another. You are God in the flesh. But you're only God because you subjected and submitted to the Spirit. And all of the world is the evidence. And nobody's complaining. Think about what I've said to you, ladies and gentlemen. Think about it. It is something that you really should give some attention to. Until next time, this is Eddie. Goodbye.